Stop everything you've been lied to by the history books. You think you know the story of the 300 Spartans? You think it was just a brave sacrifice or some romantic last stand? Wrong. What happened at the Hot Gates in 480 BC wasn't just a battle. It was a systemic deletion strike. We are talking about 300 genetic elite alpha nodes going up against a 2 million man Global-Imperial-Server. They didn't just fight, they broke the Persian operating system. Today, we are exposing the Leonidas Synergy, the raw, unfiltered truth about the 300 Spartans that the Persian admins tried to scrub from the records for over 2,000 years. The INITIALIZATION, the Agoge hardware overclock. To understand the battle, you have to understand the hardware. These weren't soldiers, they were biological weapons. Since the age of 7, every Spartan user node was uploaded into the Agoge, the most brutal boot sequence in human history. This wasn't training, it was a system-hardening process. They were formatted to ignore pain, synced to kill without emotion, and hardwired to never hit the escape key. If a Spartan child showed a system error or physical weakness, they were deleted early. By the time they reached adulthood, their hardware was so dense and their combat software so optimized that their bronze shields acted as a physical firewall that no Persian arrow could infiltrate. They were the superprocessors of the ancient world, designed for one single task: holding the line. The God-King glitch, Xerxes and the Imperial Overload. Enter Xerxes, the ultimate God-King admin. He arrived at the Greek borders with a database so massive it literally drank rivers dry. We're talking about an imperial server composed of every nation under his command. He thought he could click and drag his way across Europe, but he hit a massive bottleneck. King Leonidas, the lead developer of the Spartan defense, chose Thermopylae, the Hot Gates, as the site for the system patch. This was a narrow data lane between the mountains and the sea. In this restricted space, the Persian numerical bandwidth meant nothing. Xerxes could send 100,000 men, but only a few dozen could interface with the Spartan firewall at any given time. It was a denial-of-service attack on a global scale. The kinetic crash. 3 days of system failure. Xerxes waited 4 days for the Greeks to log out in fear. They didn't. On the 5th day, he hit enter and launched his first attack packet. The Medes and Scythians charged and the Spartans formatted them in minutes. Xerxes was triggered. He sent in his 10,000 immortals, his elite security software, the best hardware the Persian Empire had to offer. The result? Total system failure. The Spartans used a faint withdrawal algorithm, pretending to retreat only to reboot and pivot, deleting the immortals with surgical precision. Xerxes was seen jumping from his throne in a panic glitch. His admin authority was crumbling in front of his entire army. The betrayal, fealties, and the traitor malware breach. How do you kill a firewall that won't break? You find a backdoor. Just when the Persian server was about to crash from exhaustion, a local user error named fealties appeared. For a handful of Persian crypto gold, this system bug showed Xerxes a secret mountain path, the Anapeia path, to bypass the Spartan front end. This was the Trojan horse that finally flagged the Spartan position for total deletion. Leonidas saw the trace route coming. He knew the connection was about to be severed, but instead of shutting down, he sent the rest of the Greek user base home to save the data and stayed with his 300 hardcore nodes. The final format. The last stand protocol, the final morning, was the ultimate stress test. Surrounded, outnumbered, and throttled from all sides, the Spartans initialized their last stand protocol. They fought until their spears shattered, then used their short swords. When those broke, they used their hands, their teeth, and their fingernails. Biological combat overdrive. They didn't die, they ascended into the history cloud. They buffered the Persian army for 3 critical days, allowing the rest of Greece to install a maritime firewall at Salamis. The 300 Spartans didn't just hold a wall, They hard-coded the DNA of resistance into the Western world. The world wants you to be soft software, but the 300 want you to be Spartan hardware. Are you going to stay unoptimized, or are you going to initialize your own final stand in your life today? Smash that subscribe note, like this data dump, and tell us in the comments, would you have stayed at the wall, or are you a system quitter